again. I'm Blessing Richardson, and I'm founder of Sayla. And so what I do at Sayla is that I help small businesses launch apps and help micro businesses launch micro tools. With more than 15 years of experience in the industry, from coding to engineering to leading engineering teams, my goal is to get people across the finish line with their projects. And it's crazy because in my corporate career, I've worked with really big organizations and projects. But because I started in high school with freelancing, my heart has always been for micro businesses, from the solo to the small teams, and making them more efficient. And so in that experience, I've been using no code and low code tools for forever. And so when ChatGPT kind of came to the forefront, the first thing I noticed is that when they launched their marketplace to create custom GPTs, I realized that there's a way to monetize this. As a technologist, of course, I followed AI as a whole, but their marketplace made me see how easy it is to take ChatGPT and kind of monetize technology like it. And so as I talk to more people like you about monetizing ChatGPT, the question comes up around like, well, how exactly do I use it myself? And where do I get started with getting comfortable with it in my own day-to-day before I create a product from it? And so that's what this whole series is going to kind of amount to, which is productization of ChatGPT. But before that, you got to get comfortable. You got to use it in your own day-to-day so you can see the value of it. And also, once you get the benefit from it, it kind of demystifies how we create products from it, how we position it, and how we make it accessible to customers. Let me fix one more thing with my camera. It's doing this whole like zoomy thing. I don't know. Are y'all seeing it kind of pop in and out too? Or is it just me? All right, let's go up to share my screen. So we're going to actually we're going to jump right in where I'm going to show you how I'm using ChatGPT on my desktop. Now in the chat, if you've installed ChatGPT on your desktop, give me a 1. And if you haven't, give me a 2 in the chat. Okay, so this is going to be new and exciting. This is the ChatGPT app. I'll send y'all a link after the session, so you can just click on it and download it. And I'll send you the link to their website and then a link to the App Store if you have a MacBook as well, because I believe they have apps for other ecosystems. Yes. So this is one of the main reasons why I use the desktop app. Now, before we get into all the fun stuff, let's talk about setting up your account. So for this account's name is Taylor because it is I don't think you can see my little window. Let me change my share screen settings really quickly. Stop share a different one. This will be fun. Share screen, no share screen window. Okay, settings window. You can see my settings window now. This is a test account that I have. And so there's not that much going on in it. But the first thing I want to talk about is personalization. When you go into ChatGPT, you can begin to customize it to work for you. And so what I've done is come up with a bit of a persona here. So today I want ChatGPT to think I'm Kyle. And I'm going to tell it that I'm the founder and CEO of a luxury, discreet, on-demand disposal service catering to high-end residents and businesses in Dallas. I came up with a business that I know very little about. Also, because the history in this account is not tuned to Kyle. And so you're going to get to see in real time what it's like to kind of start almost on a blank slate with ChatGPT. Now, let me pull up my other documents here. In order to speed this up, I pre-drafted some things to go inside of this box. So let me go find that. But we can tell ChatGPT a bit about us and even kind of customize the way it behaves by giving it traits. And so here they've actually changed this recently, which is really cool, where you can tell it, I want ChatGPT to be humble. Maybe I want it to be poetic. Maybe I want it to be a bit more traditional, right? You can describe how you want ChatGPT to behave with you. I actually have my own preferences for this. And so what I want ChatGPT to do for Kyle is that I want it to be casual and direct for internal conversations. When it's talking to me, just kind of get to the point. When it's writing copy or emails, I want it to be polished and professional. Generally just be clear and concise. Be adaptive and know when to switch between the different voices here. And know that when it's writing for the brand, I want it to maintain this type of voice for my business. And in the anything else you want ChatGPT to know about you box, this is where you can get all this extra context in there. So for me, I'm going to be more detailed on the internal and external responses here. Again, just making a difference for it. So internal responses, again, speak to me plainly, keep explanations short, right? If it doesn't know something, just say, I don't know. And AI is interesting. If you don't give it permission to tell you no, it might not, right? This is where you get lying or hallucinations with AI. And so I want to be explicit that if you don't know something, just tell me you don't know, right? And we're good. I gave it more details on how I want it to handle external communications as well. But this could be anything. If I have a whole backstory about me that I want ChatGPT to know about, I'll give it to it. There are other things where in my personal setup, I might put like links to my websites, my booking links, stuff like that. Let me go back down here in this box. Anything else ChatGPT should know? So that way it has that context when I'm using it to actually write certain documents or things like that. But something to know that if you're a consultant and you represent other people or you do work on behalf of other people, being too descriptive about yourself here might make you have to fight with ChatGPT later when you're doing work for clients or different projects. And so the best approach for this settings page is a light touch, right? Things that you want ChatGPT to kind of always do all the time. So take that into consideration when you are configuring your general settings here. You're gonna hit save, and that's good. That's saved. And then memory is a feature where as you use ChatGPT, it will kind of decide what it needs to remember about you. And I find that sometimes you can tell it, hey, this is important. Remember this about me, and it will trigger it to add it to memory. And so as you talk to it, it will add memories. This doesn't have anything, but this feature is actually really cool if it's helpful for you, and that it will remember things about you across different chats. So sometimes when I'm working on my own business and I'm working on a particular new service, it might put information about the service and the details into the memory. But because I'm working on it and those details are changing, I might have to go back in and delete those memories because then it becomes inaccurate. So it's something to kind of watch whenever it pops up, but it can be really helpful when it's remembering things about your brand that are generally true. And so if it ever puts something in memory that you don't like, you can just delete that one item, or you can always clear the memory as a whole just to get it to kind of start over and fresh for you. Let's move on to data controls. Many people wonder, is ChatGPT training on my data? And as somebody in tech who's written software, I'm not going to deceive you in that you can turn this off. And if at any point ChatGPT decides to train on their models and they change their terms of service, then they're going to start training on it, right? But because they are legally telling us that they're not going to do it, this is the way that we tell them not to. This is what we do. So we can come in here and turn this off, and they won't use your data, your chat sessions, your information in your chats to train on it and improve the model for everyone, right? That's how you do that. And then if you're using voice and video, there's some choices and options here that you can configure. But I think the data control setting is what most people care about. And then best practices for security, I always advise that, I don't know if it's going to be here. Let's see. On the web app, you can set up two-factor authentication. I advise that to anyone all the time because you want to make sure that you put a code on there. So whenever you log in and give your username and password, it will generate a code that you put back into the app to make sure it's really you. And that's just a good layer of protection for your own data. I think I see everything I want. There's more settings here that don't exist on the web app because this is a desktop app. So you can choose to like put ChatGPT in your menu bar, in your dock. Like there's all these little settings, as you can see, that look far different for the web app. And so you can get some good customization out of it. All right, I think I'm good with my settings. Let me close this window. Well, let me close this window. Maybe I have to stop sharing. Let me try that first. Okay, yes, now I can close it. Let's go back to ChatGPT as a whole. So in the chat, let me know, what are some of the things, if you've tried to do with ChatGPT, what are some of the things that you've tried to do that, or you're thinking of doing with ChatGPT? Go ahead and throw them in the chat. We'll get ahead of them for the QA session, but I would love to see things that you're working on that you would work on if you knew how, or things that you're stuck on. In the meantime, I'm going to pull up a discovery call transcript. So right now, there is not that much. Oh, I see that question about custom GPTs. We are getting there. I'm actually going to demo a custom GPT as a part of today's session. So that's what the next session in March will be all about. And so here I'm going to show you a way to use ChatGPT to help you with discovery calls. I know a lot of us take calls in our business. And if you're like me, you use like AI note takers and you can chat with your notes and stuff like that. But when I think about using AI to make my day-to-day workflow better and even improve things I'm doing in my business, there's a kind of switch that flips in my head that goes, okay, I've done a thing. How can I make it better? And how can I get AI to help me to make things better. And so what I'm going to do first is upload let's go to this week, my transcript. I have a transcript here. And this transcript, again, because right now I'm pretending to be Kyle. So I had a call with Sarah, and you'll notice how the conversation went. I'm Kyle. You'll notice how it went with Sarah. She asked me to come by and help her dispose or clean up her event. I think she said she had about 60 guests. 40 of them were going to be kids. And she really wanted me to clean things up in about 30 minutes. And I knew that just wasn't going to be feasible. And so I effectively told her no on the call. I don't think that really went well. I'm looking to know how can I have improved the sales call. So I could have told her yes, but essentially given her more context and got her buy-in to allow my team about an hour and a half to get the job done. And so we're going to send that in and see what we get from that. And so this is me really using it as a partner, right? Even a sales coach to get these ideas. And so this is actually really helpful if one, you don't have anything in your business around sales and discovery calls or scripts. This is where you can start to build those scripts. And I've been guilty of like going online and trying to look for templates and things like that. But sometimes templates aren't really tuned to your business. And if you find them and there's still some bit of customization that has to happen. And so what I've started doing is using ChatGPT to kind of learn and piece together my own templates and even have it help me write them based on my calls. And so here I'm getting a good bit of coaching from my fictitious sales call right now, which is not too far off from some of the advice I get on my other calls, honestly. Whenever I run into a pinch and I want to make sure I can do better next time. And so I'm getting advice that I need to, acknowledge and align before pushing back. So essentially it's giving the yes before you give but this is how. Redirect the time concern. So dealing with the objection of time. And we know with sales that people usually object based to time, money, capacity, there's some fundamental reasons why people say no. And so her saying no to time really shouldn't have been surprising, but I just wasn't prepared. And so I like the redirect here because that's exactly what I should probably do the next time. And so this example, let's give this a read. You're absolutely right to want a quick turnaround. A smooth, efficient cleanup keeps the event energy intact rather than dragging it out. Here's what we typically see with these events of this size. And so really, I'm telling her why she wants the result of things being restored perfectly and properly, and not so much. It's like really saying, I don't think you care that it's 30 minutes. I think you care that it gets done really, really well, and it meets your expectations, right? And kind of reframing it that way and focusing on what really matters instead of anchoring on the time. And so I think this is great feedback. Now, I really don't want a call like this to go sideways next time. And so instead of me trying to figure out the call script myself, I can just ask ChatGPT, hey, I like your feedback. I think it's great. Now, let's say I have a call with someone else and they have similar concerns. Give me a call script to walk them through this process. And so that way I can actually address their concerns in a more fluid and concise way. Okay, so I said this bit. Let's delete that. And then let's get a call script. Here, so Vivian, I see you say that you want to ensure that you maximize your use to enhance productivity. Yeah, this is one thing too with the micro tools and all these SaaS tools. Because I've used things like Notion and Coda and so many productivity tools. There's a moment where you find yourself tinkering sometimes and building so much that you're no longer productive. And so I get to the desire to make sure that you are using the tools that you do have efficiently, because you can sink time in just trying to get your tools to work. And then Reme said that she wants to use it better to repurpose content, especially from the podcast. Yes, Reme, this is what I'm doing too. And I've come up with some workflows around that as well. So getting your ChatGPT dialed in will make that a lot easier. Let's take a look here. So I like this call script. Right. And I like that it's putting Kyle's name in here. So that tells me that it's remembering that Kyle's the one talking. And it's giving me that opening. Because sometimes, you don't have to follow a script to the T, but knowing that this is the outline, right? It helps to keep the call smooth and consistent. And I used to not use scripts at all, honestly. I'd write them almost like a suggestion. And then I realized over time that when I use a script, it actually is a way to respect my time and someone else's. Because as my script develops over time, I am naturally more in line with the kind of things that customers will ask. And I have my answers ready, right? And so the script kind of grows along with my customers, along with my clientele and the question that they're asking. And I make the most of their time by following it. And so this is some of the things I've been doing after my own calls to improve my scripts and make sure that I'm addressing their actual concerns and not just like missing the fact that, oh yeah, this is about a sale. Well, is it really a sales call, or is it more of you have a pain point? I think I have a solution. Let me make sure I address your actual concerns and suss out if this is a good match. And so these are just things that I'm doing myself. Address time expectations. I like this. Offered a phased approach. I like this. Great. So this script is kind of cool, but I don't really like it when my scripts look this way, right? I feel like this is too like verbose. And so what I want to do is change the formatting. Let's do that. Okay, so I like the script, it looks good, but I think I need to change the format. I like my scripts to look almost more like an outline where the sections are H3 headings, and then underneath each, every line where I speak, I want my name. And then the first thing I want in square brackets is like the point of what I'm saying. So like an objective. And then I want the quote. And then whenever I need to give pause for somebody to respond, I like the next line to say pause. And so can you reformat that or reformat this in that way? Hold on real quick. Look, this is the joys of working from home with your husband. He just took that call and I'm like, if I can hear it, I know y'all can hear it. Okay, we're good. So this has been recorded. The script is in, and then we're going to hit submit, or really my revisions on formatting are in, and we're going to hit submit. Hear the sales call. Great, great. And so I said H3 headings. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with formatting in ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is really, really good about following your formats when you give it descriptions and say, this is the pattern I want you to follow. And so right now, it is going through and doing it. This is pretty close, right? That's the heading there. That's my name. This is the objective. I kind of want to dial this in a bit more. So I'm going to say I want my heading to look a little more like this. That's my heading, my opener. And then we're going to do the bullet where it's going to say Kyle. And then we're just going to have the objective in square brackets. And then we're just going to have the quote, right? And I actually want this to be bold. So I'm going to use double stars here so it knows that that should be bold. I like that. And then I want the colon at the end of that. I like Kyle there. And then we're going to give the client a name. I think I want client to be bold too. Kyle to be bold. Probably want that to be in italics. It might be better, easier to see. And then here I want this to just say pause. And then I said I wanted this to be an H3. And we probably don't need a number there. Let's give that a go. Okay, so that is following my format almost exactly. Now, another thing I like to do is if I have a format somewhere, if I have an example document or I have something I really like, I will give it the document and say, hey, ChatGPT, I want you to describe the format back to me, or I want you to create a template from it, right? And so it's actually a lot easier when you have an example that you like and you already have to go back and say, you know what, I already kind of have a template. I need you to describe this template like word for word, include everything that needs to be bold, the size of the heading, and create your own template from it. And so I kind of use ChatGPT to speed it up for me by backwards engineering the template when I don't want to be as specific as you just saw me be. And the same thing works for screenshots. You can give a screenshot of something and say, this is actually what I want you to follow. Go through and follow it. Now, I don't know what update they did the last couple of weeks that has changed the way ChatGPT kind of works in its formatting, but they've made ChatGPT far more liberal in when it chooses to format. And I hate dividers on the desktop. Don't care for it on the web browser, but on the desktop. And it's because if I try to highlight this, it breaks at the divider and I can't keep highlighting. And so please remove all dividers from your responses because I don't like that. Okay. And so we should get that without the dividers this time. That makes it really easy to copy. And so this is my discovery call sales script. Next thing that I want to move on to, let me make sure we're good on time. Oh, we're good on time. Let's come in. We did the discovery call, customer support. Okay. So one way that we can make customer support better is to have FAQs. If we can anticipate what people will ask, we can provide them with answers. And since, for Kyle, this is a new business, right? Kyle doesn't even have a website. Kyle's branding. He has a domain name that he wants to buy. And he knows what kind of social media handles he wants, but he doesn't have any of this collateral yet in his business. And so what we're going to do is, one, now that we have a sales call, a discovery call in our history here, we can leverage this whole thing to actually make a better FAQ. But again, Kyle doesn't have much going on. So what Kyle does know is his business, though. He knows his business. He knows how it works. And so what I've done is that I've created a brand identity document for Kyle that describes like his brand name. And so let's see. Can y'all see that pop up? I don't think you can see the pop up. I'm going to open this in a different show and finder. I'm going to open this in a different window and share it with you so you can get an idea of what I'm going to feed into the AI. Because without that, that might not be helpful. So let's take a look at this window. Can we see what we got going on now? So this is some initial information about the brand. We see Supreme Haulers. We see the website. We see some handles. None of this should be real, by the way. If it's real, I'm so sorry. So sorry. We have some fake booking links here. We've chosen our service areas. We have some stuff on mission, on vision, on promise, on customers. And by the way, I did not sit here and type all this verbatim. I did give ChatGPT a blurb of like pouring my heart out about me being Kyle and my brand mission and what I want. And then I had to go through and create this document for me. And I'll show y'all a little bit on how to do that on your own later. But we have this brand brief. And so now giving information about my business to ChatGPT means that it can be more intelligent about helping me come up with these FAQs, right? Instead of just giving me generic advice based off of maybe something on the interwebs, right? We want it customized to me. So we're going to upload that file now, brand voice. And I'm going to ask it, okay, so I need to come up with some FAQs about my services. You already have the discovery call, so you're aware of some of the issues and things that I might need to get ahead of with a good FAQ document. But just from looking at, this information about my business and what I'm doing, what do you think are the top 20 questions that my ideal customer might ask me that could prevent a sale for somebody who is a good fit, or are just really good questions to answer up front because this is what's top of mind for them? And so now we're going to use ChatGPT again as a thought partner and come up with these 20 FAQs. And I bet you it's going to try and answer them. Great. I'm going to stop that. ChatGPT has a way of running away with assumptions, and I didn't give it enough clarity to say, you know what? I think I just need you to give me the question. So just provide the question. Because what's the point of it doing questions and answers when I might not approve of those questions? So we want to give it something to focus on. What types of disposal and cleanup services do you offer? How quickly can you clean up after an event? I'm liking this. I'm liking these questions. And I'm going to go through and choose just a handful of them. I don't want to take payment methods. We don't have all the time in the world. So I'm going to take a few of these away just to give us a handful. Give it back to it. Okay. And so I like that it kind of knew after I pruned the list that these are the ones I wanted to focus on. And so it's going to do its best based off the information I gave it. And if this isn't accurate, if it's not accurate, what I love about the desktop app, again, is that I can just record. I can come in and just narrate the changes I want for each question, and it will fix it. So it makes this whole collaborative process really quick and easy. These are my FAQs. I like that it asked me to format them because I really was going to be nitpicky about format, but just to make good on time, I'm going to transition to talking about my custom GPT. So the next time we meet, I'm going to show you how to make one that can help with different tasks. But today I thought it would be kind of cool to show you how you can use a custom GPT while you're already in a chat. So in the platform, you can go and create a bunch of GPTs. If you click Explore GPTs, I don't think it's showing you my window, but there are hundreds of GPTs, if not thousands of them in the store. You can make your own as well for your account. And so what I have, that brand identity document you saw that I put together, I have one about my voice for this particular brand. And what makes sense to me is that maybe I have these FAQs and that looks nice, but I actually want these FAQs rewritten in my brand voice. So first, I'm going to use the GPT. And any GPT you have in your account, you can use the @ symbol and use that GPT in another chat, right? And so I'm going to use my Hollers AI GPT and tell it that I need you to rewrite these FAQs in my voice, renumber them because it didn't renumber them as well. First, describe the changes to me before writing. So I want to know what it's going to do first. And that way you can see the changes before it goes through and does them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did put that in there. No soft or apologetic language. Sometimes I find when I'm writing in a female voice, it might be slightly more apologetic in its verbiage than I need it to be. So I'll tell it, don't do that. And then it said it's going to use luxury and high-end positioning terms. And so in my document, I have terms that I prefer to use. It knows what words to avoid because it's in my document. So this looks accurate to me. And then it said to frame Hollers as an effortless high-touch solution. This is true. This is all part of my brand as well. Every answer will reinforce that your service is the only choice. I like it. Okay. And so it's making the changes. Now, I like that in this document. I don't want to read each one line for line. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT in diff format, show me your changes. Okay. So I just kind of want to know what it changed, right? Between this and the original set. I want that to be slightly more obvious. And so that's what I use the word diff, which is show me the difference. I think it's not being as clever. Sometimes this one gets a little funny. Yeah, it sure did. You sure did. This is called the canvas window. And so sometimes it can be tricky. When I say don't use the canvas, show me the diff here in the chat. And then we can close that. Okay. So this will show me in red what it got rid of and in green what it added. I might be also learning a limitation of the desktop. Okay, so the minus sign is essentially what it removed, and the plus sign is what it added. And so if I ever just want to get a quick, like, what changes did you make here? Show me. And it literally reworded almost everything, as you can see. We went from we provide full service, high-end disposal to we provide discrete high-end disposal, which discrete is a word that I wanted to use. Our team works efficiently to restore your space as quickly as possible. This is using more almost like a more powerful, punchy statements. Efficiency is key for smaller gatherings, and really to the point here. So it is applying those changes and notes that the GPT has. And so I was able to do this by using my Hollers AI GPT, and I can close it out and go back to the regular GPT mode. So this is really like a crash course in some of the things I'm using with ChatGPT to make it more efficient and how I'm using it, right? When I don't know what to say, I just ask. It. I throw it out there anyways. And what you noticed before when I got to the point where I was telling GPT how to format my response, this is where I'm more confident in what it's doing. And so now I want to tweak and refine it, right? I'm kind of taking back or switching from the co-creative workflow with ChatGPT, say, okay, you helped me there. Now I know what I want. Let's tweak it and refine it. And so I become much more direct in my ask of ChatGPT when I know what I want. But it's really fluid, as you see, to go back and forth and kind of play and do the creative thing and then say, okay, great. This is what I want in my process. And when we start bringing in custom GPTs, which we'll do next time, we get to take things like this formatting, and put them into GPTs where it's remembered. And so the GPTs will know this is how I like to format my call scripts, and I can make a call script GPT now. I can go into any session, come up with different types of scripts, and then say, okay, call script GPT, I need you to reformat this according to, our standards or our SOPs or just whatever I tell you. And similarly with the Hollers AI GPT, I have some standards about how we write. And so now I'm going to use my GPT to enforce those standards about how we write and communicate as an organization. So that we covered all of the things today. Now we're going to go into Q&A. Do y'all have any thoughts, questions, or does anybody want to come on stream and ask? So I'm looking at the chat right now for questions. Or if it's easier just to kind of come on and share your thoughts with me, we can do that too. Yes, that's what we want. Useful and inspiring. That's it. I want y'all to think differently about how we use AI, because AI is a different type of technology. Like, yes, it's technology, and we've seen new technology come on the scene many times before. But don't worry, Laura, you're going to get a replay. So don't worry about it. We see technology come on the scene, and AI is uniquely different in that we can engage with it much differently than anything else. Right? Because it is a creative element, this form of AI. And so using that whole kind of speech to text has been the big thing for me to just speed up my own workflow. Because if I'm just talking to you, I'll talk to you like I talk to anyone else, right? And let ChatGPT kind of do the work and then just have this free flowing conversation with it. And I've seen that's the most helpful thing, particularly when I don't know what I need or what I want initially. And then I formalize all my things as GPTs. So next time, what you're going to see is how I put together Holler's AI, and then how you can create those documents as well. And so I actually have a resource to help you do that and actually manage all of your GPTs and all of your prompts too. So that's going to be really, really fun to demo for you next time, but also go through the fundamentals of what does it look like to create a rich enough brand identity document, no matter how mature your business is, whether you just started it today, like I just breathe Supreme Hollers into life, or it's my business is 5, 10, 100 years old. How do you create a document that gives the GPT just enough information to where it's actually useful? And then I'll show you some tricks on like documenting your voice in a way. It's actually surprisingly easy. And I've taken a number of classes and bought my own stuff. But the best GPT I've made to mimic my voice, I made on accident. And it was so easy. So I'm going to be excited to show y'all that as well. We are a little bit ahead of time. So Vivian said, this was great and has given me some insight into how to use it better. I can't wait to use these tips and tricks learned. Yes, there will be. If you go to Sayla.to/go live, and I'll put that in the chat too, that link will redirect you to my current event. And it might even, let me see where it's going to go now. It might even send you to my calendar of events. And so at the top page, okay, so when you're on that event page, you're going to see Sayla with the logo. Click on it and it will show you all of my upcoming events for you to sign up for anything that's coming. And there are going to be more that get added to the calendar. So if you sign up for today, you're on the email list, you'll get notifications, but also you can pre-sign up for any events that are already publicly available at that link. Y'all, this is fun. I'm going to send a follow-up email to see, after y'all have some time to stew on this, to see if there were things that you wish I'd covered, because I'd love to do another part 2 specifically on showing you how to do certain things with ChatGPT, specific workflows. And so I knew there were going to be different people on the call today and tried to pick some things I think were relevant to most of us. But with your questions, it tells me where to focus. So I'm definitely looking forward to your feedback. Yes, you're going to get a link to replay this video, and as well as probably like a draft or guide that just kind of pulls out the highlights for you. Yes, you will. All right, y'all, I'm going to give y'all back a few minutes today. Thank you so much for joining me. This was great. And I cannot wait to talk more and geek out more about AI in ChatGPT.